Hello, folks, and welcome back to another review and thoughts on Back to Back. But if anybody is interested in requesting any movie reviews, commentaries, reactions to shows, music, artists, or music albums, or commentaries, let me know in the comments or link to my PayPal is in the description down below. So let me know if you're interested in any of that, or if you just want to donate to the channel, that's fine too. But yeah, we're getting to Vacancy, which is a 2007 horror slasher thriller. Now, the only thing I remember when this came out was the trailer. It was where Luke Wilson's character is in a phone booth, and a car, bulldozes through the phone booth. That was pretty much the only thing I remember about it. Um, and that was a decent scene. Um, Now it is about it stars Kate Beckinsale, which mm-hmm, and Luke Wilson. Now I always get him and Owen Wilson mixed up. I don't know why. I guess because they're both named Wilson. Um, but Luke Wilson in this, I didn't mind his character. I actually liked his character. Um, but if anything, these characters were pretty smart for the most part in this, which I found interesting. Whereas a lot of movies today, with their characters in horror films, do a lot of stupid stuff. I mean, The Strangers, what came out a year later in 2008. This is 2007. So I would watch this over The Strangers any day. Granted, it's not gory, really. I mean, the only gore you get, really, is at the very end, in the third act, and it's very fast. Um, I mean, there's blood in. This could have been a PG-13 if you cut out the nudity on the snuff on the tapes scene where they're showing stuff. Other than that, this could have been PG-13, but I'm glad it wasn't. It's directed by Nimrod Antal. I don't know who that is. I don't know if he's directed anything else after this, but I know there's a Vacancy 2, but it's not really a part 2. It's a prequel. But then what I heard is it has nothing to do with the killers of this film, so it's not really a prequel because it doesn't. The killers are not even in the whatever. So I didn't understand that. Why is it called Vacancy 2 when it's a prequel? If anything, it should be Vacancy First Tapes or something. It shouldn't be like it shouldn't be 2. But I don't know if I'll even watch that one. If anybody wants me to, I'll try to track it down. But yeah, I actually didn't mind this one. I didn't mind it for what it was. It was a pretty decent watch. I mean, it's about Kate Beckinsale and Luke Wilson stranded in an isolated motel, and pretty much they become the unsuspecting subjects of a snuff film. Because pretty much their marriage is on the outs. They're supposed to get a divorce, I guess, and also there's talks of I guess they had a kid at one point, and I guess it died. I don't know how long ago it was, but it died, and ever since then their marriage has been rocky, if anything, falling apart really. Um, and then pretty much, but they're supposed to, I guess, visit her parents, I believe, or they're just coming from her parents. But their car breaks down, and if anything, they go to a motel, and the guy that works at the front desk, he was interesting. If anything, I liked his performance. Because you find out he's a killer, he's one of the killers in on it. But overall, I didn't mind. He's sort of like a Norman Bates. He tries to be like a Norman Bates type guy, very peculiar fellow, um, a bit nerdy, clumsy, whatever. But pretty much he lets them in a room. They sit there for a while. They talk and criticize each other. Um, then Luke Wilson wants to watch a movie or see what's on the tapes that they have in the room. So puts the tapes on, and right away, well, I shouldn't really say right away, but through a couple of minutes as he's watching one of the tapes, he notices the room in the tape is resembling the room that they're already in, and then he figures it out that the tapes that he's watching are actual crimes of people dying, people killing, people coming in, killing people in the room, and it's the room that they're staying in. And pretty much at first, they think it's a neighbor next door. In the room next door, they're hearing banging sounds and banging on doors and the wall, and Luke Wilson's yelling at them, but that's before the tapes thing. He finds out the room is bad, and but right after they figure it out, then they start trying to figure out what to do, and so I love the fact that he starts to study the mistakes of the killers on the tapes, such as he puts the tape in and he watches, such as how are they getting into the room, if the door is locked, or how do the lights go out and then they just appear, and so I like the idea of smart characters in a horror film. Unlike the characters and the strangers, the couple and the strangers, which granted they were younger, but I'm not giving them a pass because while this couple doesn't have any weapons, at least they're smart enough to stay in one room and hold a knife to whatever until to try to make it till morning. Whereas the strangers really have a shotgun and they still get killed. Or they have weapons in the house and they still die. So um, so yeah, I have problems with the strangers just overall. I hate the first film. I like the concept of the strangers, but I hate the execution. So I'll say about that. But this one, um, the acting was really good from Kate Beckinsale as usual. Um, Luke Wilson, I thought he was really good, decent if anything. I liked his character overall. I liked how smart he was. Um, I didn't like some of the third act where his character. I kind of called it towards the third act where he's like, "You stay here. I'm gonna go and try to get a gun or whatever in the manager's room or whatever." But spoilers, his character, he doesn't die, but you think he does because he gets stabbed. He gets shanked right in the doorway, and you think he dies, which granted it's unrealistic. I will agree that like he survived a stab wound that deep to a stomach or whatever, and then he crawls on the ground and then is able to just faint, I guess. But you think he's dead, and then it's up to Kate Beckinsale to survive the rest of the morning. And pretty much she gets in the car, drives it. The two killers jump on the car. She kills both of them in a car crash. She fights the main killer leader, boss, kills him, and she gets back to Luke Wilson. He ends up surviving, and then she calls for help, and then it goes back to her going to him, and then it just zooms out slowly of them, surviving. And actually, I don't mind that. It's refreshing. It's refreshing to have a decent ending of survivors, whereas most movies nowadays either everybody dies, everybody one person the survivor gets possessed or whatever, or the survivor becomes a bad guy by the end, like Hostel 2. Or, like, at least this one, it was a decent watch. It went by pretty decently paced, I will say, actually. It moves really fast when they realize what's going on. I like that. Um, I liked the part where, a truck driver pulls up and they think he might be in on it, but then they start trying to get his attention, and he looks over he starts walking towards them, and you see the two killers walking behind him, and then they pass him, walk right past him, and then you realize, oh, he's a customer that pays for these snuff films as well. So they're selling these tapes of people, of them killing people and selling them to folks. And then I did also like the part where they get paranoid of the police officer that shows up, because they're also wondering, well, is he in on it as well? Because it's like, well, they didn't bother him when they didn't let him go in the room, or they let him go in the room, otherwise they would have killed him by then. But then pretty much he dies, a pretty lame kill as well, where he just gets stabbed, and you see blood falls on the ground. That's it. Um, but yeah, like overall, like the third act is just Kate Beckinsale show, and she just shoots the boss, the main bad guy, shoots him like 2 or 3 times, and he's dead. They don't do a jump scare, which I was glad about. It was I'll give them credit for that. And yeah, it's a one and done thing. Like, you really don't need you can't really have a sequel with this. Um, it doesn't need one, and then of course Vacancy 2, and which is not a sequel. I don't understand why they put a 2 if they wrote it to be a prequel, but whatever. Um, so yeah, overall, I liked it. Yeah, I would watch it again. Um, I wouldn't mind getting this on DVD. Um, and yes, I still use DVDs. Not a Blu-ray person, not a 4K person, not a 8K, 9K, 10K, whatever K person. I'm just a regular DVD person. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Vacancy, Vacancy 2. If you like them, if you don't like them, yeah.